All right, so those damn writers, man. I absolutely love this episode. I thought it did what it needed to do for the time frame we are in the series. And I really think after watching this episode, I don't think they're going to figure out who Don Black is until the end of the series. I think they're going to wait and they're going to hold off on that for a while. It feels like it was just a big, like, ha ha, I got you, with the preview last week that we got for this episode. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And if they do hold it off till the end, I am totally okay with that. Totally saying, telling the fans, like, hey, like, screw off. This is our story, not your story and whatnot. And I also like the fact that I can't think of another Sentai that did not have the main 5 or 3 characters at least know they exist. Like in their human forms when they're not transformed, like kind of outside of the fights and whatnot. I can't think of a series that's done this. So if they do hold it off until the end, I think this is the first time they've ever done this, and I think they're doing it well. I do. I think this is done really well, and I enjoy it. So to get into the episode here, a minute 20 in, we start off by they're doing. I can't remember what this is called, but I saw this in person, and it's basically kind of, you put like Noodles, which was in this episode, and you can put like other foods, and it's like this water slide type thing, and I have no idea what it's called, but it's actually pretty cool to see in person too. And so you just kind of grab some food out, what are they called, tongs or whatever they're called. As the food goes by, and then if you can't get it, the next person in line can get it, and then there's like a little catcher thing at the bottom. I don't remember what it's called, but they're all, having food, kind of eating it that way on this water slide thing, and they're discussing like, hey, like, we still have no idea who Don Black is, and Six Ranger's like, yeah, I thought it was, and they called back to the episode where Don Black was eating the dog food from the girl, which was the very last scene of the episode. I think I talked about that scene. I hope I did. It was a short little scene at the end where Don Black basically gets his body back after he cannot, untransform, and he just, continue eating, not realizing that, hey, like, this girl's looking at me in my human form, not my dog transformed form. So they recall that, and Don Black is walking away as the Sixth Ranger was kind of, I don't know, where he was just kind of strolling the streets, I guess. I don't know. And he's like, I smell dog food on your breath and whatnot, which I don't think they saw him eating the dog food. If I remember correctly, I don't know how he came to that conclusion, but I would have to go back and watch. That was like 15 episodes ago or something like that. Maybe only 10. But again, they're like, hey, that's no way. Don Payne come to his defense and said, hey, I've seen him a million times out there. He's on the run. He doesn't have time for crap like this, for superhero stuff. So they're like, okay, well, let's figure out a way to do it. Then Don Red's like, hey, I got an idea. And so they go to a fight that happens after the intro. And Don Black pops up, and he's looking at Don Pink. He's like, oh, my God, like, what is going on? Seriously, this guy is taking my girl and whatnot. And he's just standing there zoning out. And Don Blue, Yellow, and Pink go to fight the monster. Don Red stays back and says, hey, like, meet us at the shop, at the cafe. Let's discuss. Let's figure out who you are. And well, he doesn't say let's figure out who you are, but let's have a discussion there when you get there. Don Black doesn't hear that. And so Don Red rushes in to fight, and within seconds the monster is able to kind of use an attack to get away, and they all kind of poof away, and then 4 of them poof back to the cafe, and they're waiting, and suddenly this little girl and her mom and the little girl's holding the dog pop in. And Don Yellow runs up and is like, oh my God, it's the dog! Of course, because she mentioned, like, hey, maybe it's a real dog at the start of the episode. And so she's thinking, oh, like, that's it. That's Don Black. That's who we've been looking for 31 episodes now. We now know it, and whatnot. And so the woman's like, do you have something going on with my dog right now? Like, what? And so they kind of realize, like, hey, that's probably not it. It's probably a human being. So they get called or teleported to fight the monster again on a bridge this time. And they start kind of asking, like, what the heck's going on? Start kind of asking random questions and whatnot to Don Black. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, let's go fight the monster. So he starts to run away. Don Black summons a rope, ties him up, and they try to pull him back. Said, hey, like, you're coming with me. Like, screw the monster of the week. We're solving this mystery right now. And so what ends up happening is the monster attacks, cuts the rope. One of the blasts hits the rope. I think it's like little angel wings, I believe is what they were. And so Don Black goes flying off the bridge. And then we get this scene of a musician looking for his lover, basically the only person that really enjoyed his music and whatnot. And he's depressed because, she disappeared a while ago, can't find her. She's just kind of walking, ends up having to be walking right under the bridge that Don Black falls. They collide heads, fall over, the glasses fall off of, our Don Black, lay on the ground as he disappears back to wherever he was before. And then the four of them look over, and it's the musician on the ground with the glasses next to him, and they're like, hey, that's the guy! So they say, screw the monster, we're going here. Get down off the bridge, wake up the guy who, again, was knocked out, unconscious, and they instantly, it's this whole trope of they're talking the way that the guy or the person they're talking to wants to hear. So this guy's just to think, like, oh, he's in a band, they're scouting him, they already know about him, they want him in the band and whatnot, and so they give him the glasses, monster attacks, again, more people, so they go rush over there, the guy follows, the musician follows, they do this really cool thing, and I wish they did this more, but it's just kind of like a quick transform thing. They actually put their glasses on, and then we see the gun appear in front of them. So I wish they would do that more, because that's actually really kind of cool. Maybe because of budget, and you have to do CGI with everything in the scene. Maybe that's why they don't always do it a lot. But I would love it. I think it'd be kind of cool if they did that more often. So he grabs the gun. They all grab the gun, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Press this, spin this." Transforms. And so the four of them go to fight. Well, the musician's kind of just watching, like, what am I supposed to do? Then the monster starts to attack him. He ducks and covers. The monster goes flying over his body. And they're all like, yeah, good job, man. Like, whoa, that's, amazing technique there. So then they kind of continue fighting. Don Black, who wakes up on a side street or whatever, passes by his wanted posters, which is now, I think it was 1,000,000 yen, which I have no idea how much that is in, U.S. currency. So I don't know if that's a lot or not, because isn't 1,000 yen like $1 or $1.05 or something? I don't know. I don't know yen currency. I don't know, euros or all this other stuff, because that's not what I deal with here in the U.S. So I don't know if 1,000,000 is a lot. But he sees that. I guess he never realized he had a bounty on him. I thought they talked about that in an episode, or at least they kind of showed posters of a bounty, I thought. Maybe he just never saw it. So, but then how? I don't know. I'm not even going to think about it. We're going to just move on. So then he hears the commotion of the fighting afterwards, and goes and sees the musician get knocked back, as the dog. Glasses come flying off. Our Don Black picks up the glasses, transforms, starts the fight, and that's when the monster is able to get away again. And so then the musician and Don Black, I think they were in a stadium. I think they rented out a part of a stadium or something like that, kind of just hanging out talking. And our Don Black's like, hey, like, maybe you should just be, the Don Black, the actual Don Black here. Gives him the glasses. He goes back to the cafe. New look. He's got these, like, black gloves on that don't actually cover the fingers. I have no idea what those are called. Kind of like a biker look is what I consider it. Talking, all this smack. He says he hates other men or something like that because they interfere with him giving women or so. I don't know. It was weird. And kind of confidence booster, and the rest of them all go, yeah, I hate money, so I'm doing this and whatnot. All confidence booster, type of stuff. While Don Red is kind of just eating food in the background, not really paying attention. So then we get another fight, and this is... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Before the fight happens, we get the scene where Don Black wants to talk to Don Pink, the original Don Black, about Mio. They go to a park. Mio comes by. Don Black runs away. Then the musician comes by, looking, I think Soko or something like that, he calls her. And so they start to have a fight over her. And they go back to the cafe and say, hey, like, I can't be in this group if this guy's going to be in this group. He's not taking my wife. And, the musician says, like, you're not taking my girl, essentially. And so Don Red's like, hey, like, leave politics, leave, personal stuff out of this, and, go deal with it by yourself. So then they go back to the park about the fight, and Mio's like, hey, like, this is my guy right here. I'm married to him, shows a ring and all that. Lays out this little blanket thing, and pats her legs. And Don Pinkles lays on her legs and gets his ears cleaned. And so that's when the musician turns into a monster. That's what I forgot. He becomes the monster in here, because we never find out who the other guy was. Oh no, wait, no, we do see a scene. It's this guy that wanted to lose weight. That's right. It just had like nothing importance like in this episode, and then somehow I guess again the monsters can transfer themselves to different people. But I thought they were supposed to be their own monsters with like their own greed and whatnot. So I don't know. I'm not gonna think too much into it. This episode was pretty fun overall. So again, then he transforms into the monster, which they've been following around before. In the first two fights of this episode. Then Don Pink tells him like, hey, like that's Don Black right there. And then okay, like, well, we got to defeat him either way. And then we see this cool, like, I think it's a drone that kind of goes around the fight, and then it goes up to it was like a trailer, like a truck trailer or something kind of sitting there. And we see the Sixth Ranger appear, and he goes, once again, they're leaving me out of these stupid fights. So he jumps down, gets in the fray, helps fight him. Don Black gets, the original Don Black, our Don Black, gets the glasses back during the fight, transforms. Then we get the, I'm going to call them mini robot forms, mini Megazord forms, which are taller than human size. They're probably like 8 feet tall or something like that. And they both transform into him separately, kill the monster with a couple slashes here and there. And, yeah, that's basically how the episode ends, just like that. So, I had a lot of fun with this. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff. I'm just gonna quickly. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. I just want to double check something real quick to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything. So at the end we see Soko come back, and and Don Black goes, "This guy needs actual glasses because it's a whole different woman than Mio or Natsumi." So yeah, I forgot there was a little thing, and then we just see Don Black kind of walking away in traditional sunset setting, saying, "Hey, I'm alone," and blah blah blah. Then next week, I can't wait for next week too. So Sonai comes back to life, and we're gonna get fight with him. Don Red's gonna fight the other two Cerebrians. We get a brand new Megazord, which I believe is Don Purple's. Again, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name because I've already butchered it before, so I've just given up on that. So it's just easier to say colors. So, that happens. And it's just going to be, it seems like a more so fight-centric, censurated episode, unlike this week, which really wasn't the focus. So, final thoughts. Again, really fun episode, interesting episode. It got a laugh out of me. A couple scenes got a laugh out of me, especially that stupid dog scene at the beginning. It's an actual dog. That's a talking dog. Maybe the the blaster gives the dog powers. I don't know how the puppy transformed, but just thinking about that, I can't stop laughing about that. But yeah, just a really fun episode overall. This is probably top 10 favorite of the season so far. We're 30 episodes in, so obviously top 10 of 50 is not crazy, but especially top 10 of 31. But this was a really fun episode. So if you have not seen it, I recommend going and seeing it. Obviously, you probably have to see a bunch of the episodes before this and know this happens and that happens to lead up to this. And again, those writers, they're probably holding this off again till the end of the series, which I'm totally okay with. I want them to hold off as long as possible now. I thought they did really good here. Tricked us with, into thinking like, hey, we're going to actually get Don Black versus Don Pink for the right to have Mio or not to me. And we didn't. And I don't think Don Black actually wants to do that. I think he's, he got scared when he saw Natsumi or Mio, whatever, and, went and ran. And then he got caught up in the whole thing with the cop at the after that, too. So, I would love to see something like that. I would love to see how they handle the dynamic of, hey, Don Pink realized, like, hey, that's actually Natsumi. That's my Mio Natsumi. I don't think there would be an actual fight, but I'm blabbing on here. But I thought there was so much in this episode, so much fun in this episode. This was not, serious. They had a bunch of plot in this, but it wasn't, super serious. But it wasn't flat out corny or anything like that. So, for now, like the video, share the video around, don't forget to subscribe. I'm ready for Sonai's revival. I'm ready to see the new Megazord next week in action. So, yeah, that all said, I'm out of here. Peace.